Good evening, everybody. I am your host, Jack Remington of Jack Remington Political Analyst. Today's video, I'm going to cover several topics. The first one, I'm asking you to take a chance on this guy, two attorneys. The site's called Viva, Frei, and I'll put the screenshots up here. I'm also a member of their locals, Viva, Frei, and Robert Barnes. Viva Frei is a Montreal-based Quebec, Canada attorney. He ran for office, and I don't have the results yet, how he did yesterday, but I wish him well, and he automatically has my vote no matter what. Robert Barnes is an attorney based in the United States, and the guy is just brilliant. I never heard a lawyer with such clarity and understands the Constitution, the United States Constitution, understands the rule of law, and understands our justice system, and understands the cases and all the rules of evidence, procedures, everything else. It has nothing to do with law. He does a live stream on Sundays, and yesterday he did a episode number 79, Representative Nunez of California's, the defamation case, Mohammed Noor, the policeman who's going to have his murder conviction reversed, Canada elections, the vaccine mandates, Viva and Barnes. But he also touched on a couple other subjects that I felt were very important that should have got top billing, but it didn't. There's not enough room. Some clips about the Me Too movement, the country of France, how France were recalled as ambassadors in the first time in its history from the United States over the Australian submarine deal that Joe Biden botched that one up. And Obama's favorite phrase, never underestimate the ability of Joe Biden's ability to blank things up. They talk about General Milley for a bit, and then Joe Biden. It wasn't clear if it was an executive order or a lawful directive that he gave the military and the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, to ban all drones, and media coverage for the El Rio, Texas border overrunning by the 15,000 migrants now. I just got reports on the way home tonight on my radio in my car that a lot of them are from Senegal, Ghana, West Ghana, Ethiopia, the Sudan, the Congo, and he must have named like 11 different African countries. And the film clip that I saw when I was at work tonight on my break, on my 10-minute break, every one of them that were climbing the ladders and getting up for the help for the being processed for the asylum claims. Every one of them were military-age men. Okay, they're beasts. I didn't see not one kid, not one senior citizen, not one female with her kids. The clips I saw were all military-age men from these countries. Now, it looks kind of suspicious, doesn't it? And no, I'm going to say, let me insert this here while I'm thinking about it. The Joe Biden administration really hasn't been a total failure. A lot of it was going exactly as they're planning because they're getting the results they want. Think about that. I'm going to repeat that for those of you that are slow thinking and only got 5 brain cells rubbed together. The administration is not necessarily a total failure. A lot of this is planned, and they're letting it ride through their share of good luck on their part because it's going exactly as they want. They're getting the results they want. Think about that. Back to the video. I'm going to play the clip from Viva Barnes. I'll put the other screenshots up. You're going to watch the first clip here.
No Me Too in China. Robert?
Yes, indeed. I mean, it's basically a woman who accused a high-ranking official of sexual harassment, and the Chinese courts decided that they weren't going to have any of the Me Too and basically dismissed her case. So it just shows a very different cultural mindset, good and bad, depending on your perspective in China. I mean, they're also trying to purge all the soy boys from any form of Chinese media. They see that as a bad. They want, masculine men, and it seems to be kind of a reflection of that. I've had friends that have had, let's just say, interesting experiences in China in terms of their approach to sexual harassment. And so, but it shows that the Me Too laws are not laws that are going to be strictly enforced in China.
Well, and it's a funny thing because during our debate with the federal candidates people, Mark Garneau, who's the Minister of Foreign Affairs, was taking flack because in the debate he says we're not going to recognize the Taliban as a government, but we're negotiating and working closely with them, and we have made our demands clear that we expect. He literally said this: we expect diversity and respect of women's rights from the Taliban in Afghanistan, and people scoffed in the crowd, but where they think, especially from a defeated, humiliated military perspective, that they're going to start making gender demands on the Taliban. I mean, and you're
good luck with that.
No, and you wonder, these countries have to be laughing at us in a way that's not funny, in terms of what they think we're still carrying a big stick. No, we just fled, left thousands of people in the dead of night and had to scramble to get them out so they didn't get killed by your regime. Now we're telling you we expect you to respect gender equality in Afghanistan and sexual harassment in China. I mean, it's not to say that we should lower the standards here, but we have to be realistic in terms of how when a little bit too much becomes too much in terms of maintaining discipline in our own countries. I don't know what the Chinese military thinks when they look at Milley compromising the U.S. military here and then at the same time undermining its standing with China itself.
So they're talking about the Me Too movement, the lady who filed a complaint in Beijing, China for sexual harassment. She didn't get to first base. Okay, that's the way it's going to be in China, Russia, Pakistan, Iran, Iraq, North Yemen, South Yemen, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, Turkey. These countries, they don't respect women. They treat women worse than they treat their children. They treat women worse than they treat their burros and their livestock animals and beasts of burden. They treat women as fourth-class citizens. Fourth-class citizens, not second-class, not third, fourth-class citizens behind their children and their beasts of burden and everything else. Now, I've said enough. You need to understand this concept that at least the Republicans try to take care of their women. The evidence is speaking for itself as we speak. If you choose to stay in your delusional state, all for your hatred of Orange Man bad, then so be it. I'm going to put the screenshot up here. Triumph 95 1000, who donated $20 for the live chat for Viva Frei. Quote, I heard that the cartels down in Mexico have been disappearing radical femme activists. End of quote. Well, you know what? There is some truth to that. There was this Mormon woman about 2 years ago that was making us think about how the local constable or the federalis, but he wasn't really with the Mexican federal police. He was a local policeman. There's where she messed up. If it was actually the federalis, I think Emmanuel Obrador would have controlled the situation a little better. He wasn't, and it was under the radar. He was shaking her down for $20, $30, $40 here and there. She got tired of it, and she said, I'm going to have another women's meeting here, and instead of covering feminist issues, I'm going to cover your issue. And guess what? She didn't show up for the meeting, and there was no arrests, no accusations, no nothing. She just disappeared. So that's food for thought. Another screenshot up here. She posts, well, I got ahead of myself. They also talked about that now that the United States is trying to tell the Taliban that they want equal treatment for the women and better treatment than not just to clean the toilets and just have their babies and everything else. They're talking to the Taliban, who is still, they can't stop themselves from laughing at us how they did us through the ineptitude of the Joe Biden administration. They're mocking us as we speak, and we're a laughingstock all over the world and have been since that debacle. We're probably a laughingstock since the November 3rd election, but that's okay. Viva Frei and Robert Barnes, they were discussing that they got some real nerve to try to tell a 7th century feudal camel horseback fighters that beat the United States of America at its own game, and now we're going to make more demands on you, and really, they just beat us, didn't they? And now we're going to make demands on them to treat women better? Are you serious? Give me a break. So Sarah Brown tweets, quote, I can almost hear the Taliban rolling their eyes, end of quote. That is just so true. And I did get one more tidbit on here. I wish I'd gotten a better screenshot, so I apologize if it's very hard to read. So I'll just read it to you, and I'll put the screenshot here so maybe you can see it. J. Golf from 1776, hyphen Ashley Babbitt, that's a screen name, all one line. Quote, the future doesn't belong to countries or people that care about racism. It belongs to people who care about merit. The next one, it's got a name that should be kicked off of YouTube, but nevertheless he's here. It's called Eyeball Nunya. Quote, North Carolina citizens actually passed a constitutional amendment to acquire voter ID, and a federal judge blocked it, end of quote. Well, I remember that. And that's been about a year and a half ago, I want to say. It's when state legislatures were trying to run this through before the election. And I remember that was one federal judge blocked it, and I'm pretty sure he was an Obama appointee. But it doesn't matter which president appointed these federal judges. There's something wrong with this picture where one federal judge can just undo a state's voting record. So the citizens of North Carolina and other states vote for voter ID, including minorities. And they feel it's a good idea too. But guess what? Some judge says, oh, well, I don't think it's racist, and so it's not a good idea. Well, if minorities are voting for the voter ID, how can it be racist? What is racist, and I'm going to say this, and I don't care if I get kicked off YouTube or not. What is racist is the presumption that minorities don't know how to get a voter ID. That's racist. I mean, I can't think of anything more racist than that. It seems to me that the one party pushes it, it's the Democrat Party, because they want to be able to cheat, get dead people voting off the rolls, keep Mallory Richardson, who I'll have the video on the channel. She was caught voting 12 times for Obama, and Al Sharpton had bailed her out of jail, paid for her lawyers, had a party for it. And so I got it off YouTube. And let me wrap this up with this. Joe Biden is so inept that he pissed off the country of France, the great country of France, a first world country. They're still a first world country, although they have declined tremendously the last 80 years, especially getting their asses kicked by Germany in World War II. It didn't help any with Vichy France, where Hitler was controlling half the nation. The United States bails him out, and then Charles de Gaulle, he became the premier, he became the president of France, and he tells Americans to get out. So France is my second favorite country after the United States, and Canada is my third favorite country. And I love all things Napoleon Bonaparte, the greatest emperor in our world's history as far as I'm concerned. Speaking of military leaders, this is a good segue for that. This General Milley, I'm going to put the screenshot up here, and I'm going to read it to you about this General Milley. This guy is just a piece of work. And of all things I got this download from was CNN.com. CNN, who hates Donald Trump, that whoever started CNN years ago thought, someday we're going to wind up hating Donald Trump. So let's create ourselves and stay in business. And by God, they have. The tweet is from I Love Winning, hashtag impeach46, which means impeach Joe Biden. He retweeted Mike Davis at MRDDMIA, quote, so General Milley unilaterally decided to take a very dangerous and highly illegal action to remove the commander-in-chief from the chain of command. Then he covered it up through top secret classification. Then he illegally leaked it, and he's not in jail. Then there's a photo of Trump with Milley's to his left, Trump's left, our right, looking at the photo. And the caption reads, the Woodward book, worried Trump could go rogue, Milley took top secret ellipses off. 2 days after the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, President Donald Trump's top military advisor, Joint Chiefs Chairman General Mark Milley, and then you can read the rest on CNN.com. So there's a screenshot of it. I want to touch on something here. This General Milley went behind Trump's back. The day that I'm beginning to think this happened was January 8th. It was 2 days after the January 6th so-called insurrection. So Trump was already, he knew he was a lame duck, sitting lame duck president. He was going to have to leave the office January 20th, going to swear Joe Biden in. So that was all set in stone as far as I know. And for our purpose of this video, it's set in stone. So, but Milley still had to make this move to call his counterpart in the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, and tell their joint chief military person, that would be Milley's equivalent, saying, oh, don't worry, if Trump tries to do anything, I'm going to stop him and I'm going to remove him from the nuclear codes. So Trump has served his 3.9 years as president of the United States, duly elected president, number 45. He had 3.9 years to do something to China. He already slammed the tariffs on China. He already told Xi Jinping that you got to stop stealing our secrets, our trade secrets, and you start paying us back. Every 10 hours, and if the FBI, as crooked as they are, some of them are still doing their job. The rank and file, I'm sure there's a lot of good FBI agents, despite what you're hearing in the news the last couple of days, and they have been for like the last 5 years since even Obama was in office. I'm trying to find General Milley's logic of why he would think he would need to stop this dangerous rogue Donald Trump. Maybe he sold the idea that, well, Trump was mad he lost the election. Trump knows it was stolen from him, or even if it wasn't stolen, but Trump thinks it was stolen from him for whatever reason. It's beyond the scope of this video. So this General Milley is thinking, well, Trump, he could go rogue. This is a man who has casino licenses in, I think, 4 different states. And I knew Nevada and New Jersey are the 2 main ones where he has casino licenses. I forgot the other 2 states where he hasn't got a casino in yet, or he's out of that business. When you apply for, I was in the gaming business for 38 years. This is where this is coming from. When you go to apply for a gaming license, they want 20 years income tax returns. And if you don't have them, you got to pay some fees to the IRS and get them. And you have to order copies of your tax return requests. And that way the gaming board gets 2 copies of it and you get to keep 1. That's right. You heard me right. Because I applied for a casino license here in California 14, 15 years ago to compete against my old boss here at the Players Casino in Ventura, California. And I spent a lot of money trying to get that license cracked with a moratorium, and I failed, obviously, as everyone else has. You want to talk about crony capitalism in California, Gavin Newsom. Well, you inherited a great state for that. And it's paid off for you, hasn't it? I'm still trying to see what General Milley was trying to sell to people, and I can't figure it out. But then when I found out that Nancy Pelosi was involved in it, then it starts becoming really clear. She was like the de facto president in her own mind. She's a legend in her own mind. And she's from that area of the country where she will never lose an election because they got all the votes already lined up each 2 years for her voting. And that's how the Democrats do it. They control the voting. They control the registration. I'm here to tell you that this General Milley, he committed outright treason, and he should be stripped of his military pension. He should be put right in jail at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, and he should be sentenced for life in prison for what he did. Okay, to try to subvert the commander-in-chief is outright, that's the insurrection right there. Let's say China was going to do something stupid and they were blowing up some missiles near Hawaii or Japan, one of our allies, or whatever they could be doing, like this Kim Jong-un in North Korea that Trump stopped successfully. Didn't hear a word from General Milley then. The only thing we heard was when during the riots, the peaceful protest from General Milley's critical race theory people, the George Fentanyl, Kirby Floyd riots, and in 160 cities, according to Wikipedia, in this country, was that now General Milley was ashamed to be photographed with Trump when Trump was trying to go to that church and try to calm things down as commander-in-chief. Milley was ashamed to be, and he says, I'm ashamed to be with President Trump. I'm ashamed of that guy. And all of a sudden, I also have on the clip, and it's got a video coming up, this Mad Dog Mattis that Trump picked. Well, for 3 years, he kept his mouth shut, and when he's on the video talking, saying, all the military top brass has got to be apolitical. We can't have, we serve the President of the United States at his pleasure, and we're ready to do our jobs. And he lived up to a lot of that for the first 3 years. But the very day Donald Trump started pulling troops from Afghanistan, Iraq, Bahrain, he pulled 85%, a supermajority of our troops overseas in the Middle East. Then they turned on him, didn't they? Then this other Yahoo, I can't remember the guy's name, but it's in my other video I'm working on. And Donald Trump, he blah, 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 and these people were believing, these young people in the audience were believing this guy. Well, that guy should have been put in jail too, and got court-martialed for not supporting the president, not supporting the commander-in-chief. That's conduct unbecoming an officer, a superior officer, by the way. They have a higher standard for these admirals in the Navy and the generals in the Army. They should be ashamed of themselves, not wanting to defend the commander-in-chief. And this is what gets me. This is what gets me about the Democrats too, and Democrat lovers and Democrat voters and the minorities, women, and everything else. They couldn't put up with Donald Trump for 4 years. Okay, I've had to endure Bill Clinton for 8 years, got by. Then we got George W. Bush. Then we had to put up 8 years with Barack Obama. We're going to transform America. Well, I know what that means. I can't help it. You accept that. And you Democrats and you young millennials, and you know who I'm talking to. You've accepted that. We're going to transform America. You're okay with that. Okay, you're not going to be okay with the property confiscation. 17 countries in Africa and two countries in South America have let their Congress people, their bodies of Congress pass as law. Hey, these people have been here for 400 years and they got all this money. Well, we're going to take it from them now. Okay, you're not going to be okay with that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set up. I'm going to invest in more lighting and better equipment. Obviously, the lighting is bad in my little studio here. It's still not finished. I'm going to invest in some lighting. I'm going to invest in more cameras. I'm going to get good sound gear. And I'll make sure I got money set aside or some kind of script or coins to pay my sound people and my film crew. I want to film the looks on their faces when the CCP people come to their house and say, you know what? Now you need to get out. I got the migrants moving in. I will sell my soul to the devil to get the looks on their faces when this happens. Jack, save us. No, I'm going to be giving you the middle finger. Okay, and I'm going to laugh at you. Matter of fact, I'm going to help the other side confiscate your property. Because that's what you're voting for when you vote for the Democrat Party. You're voting for the CCP and these women. When you vote for the Democrat Party, all the Me Too and women should be believed and the feminists this and feminazi that and women this, women that. You're voting for people that's going to come over here and you're going to find out what kind of rights you're really going to have as women. You're going to find, and you know what? I'm going to help them. I am going to help them. I can't wait to happen. There's a part of me that wants it to happen so I can get this footage. Because you people don't know what you've done. And this Biden administration is going to destroy this country if we don't get him and that Harris out, and Nancy Pelosi, and Adam Schiff, and all, and Chuck Schumer. They got to go. They got to go. And that squad, gone. I'm back. Save this video. I'm back for good. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good night.